Bronze and Modern Gods. I am John.
And I'm Richard.
Richard, I like that shirt. Classic Bronze and
Yes.
Modern Gods logo. You got to get a new one. We have the new shirts in the link in the description, by the way. And do you like my new shirt?
I love it. I love it. Where did you get it, by the way?
I got it from a T Public. So it's obviously a little
for those on the podcast listening. He's wearing an Atlas T-shirt, the old Atlas logo. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I should have got a large. I got a medium, but it's a little tight. Maybe I'm eating too much. Hey, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Bronze and Modern Gods. If you're on YouTube, hey, why not hit like? Why not subscribe? Why not support the show? That's right. You can now become a member of Bronze and Modern Gods. Join right here. There's a little link right next to the subscribe button beneath me here for the cost of $2.99 a month. As your grandpa would say, that's less than a Starbucks.
A fraction of a Starbucks. Yes, it is.
You get exclusive live member-only streams, extra show and tell episodes, shout-outs, and future videos. And in fact, we want to give shout-outs to our inaugural members. Richard, why don't you start off? Go.
Yeah, Indiana Guy, Deslock TX, Jan McCrae, Raymond Rivera, Dino Pappas, JT976 Evie, Second Best Bob, David Torres, and Greg McPherson II.
Along with Jason Brownell, Darren Smith, DPG, Tom May, David Cox, Frog Brawler, Paper Abyss Comics, Skylac, and our buddy David, still only 35 cents. When you join, you help support Richard and I to go to more shows and provide you more coverage in 2024. We also will have new lighting that we're going to buy. Hey, if you want to help, just hit the join button next to the subscribe button below. You don't have to. If you don't want to, we'll still be here with you every Monday. But just like last week, members got an extra episode. Everybody got a special surprise live episode on Friday that was supposed to be members only, but everybody was welcome to that one. I'm telling you, we figured out how to do it now, so no more freebies on the live stream. So join. Enough of that. Richard, today was Saturday when we're recording this. It was San Diego Comic-Con sign-up day. Did you have any luck? Did you try to get a badge?
Yeah, Evan and I both we collaborated, and we both were going to put our IDs in, and we got into the queue an hour plus early. Finally, the time rolled around, and both of us were saying over an hour before we would actually be able to do selection. So by the time I actually got in, it was only Thursday and Sunday available, which is not the best split. So I declined. So no, I didn't get in.
I tried and I saw the wait and I thought, because I made the unthinkable mistake this year. I forgot to renew my professional badge. Yikes. Might be the first year I miss since, not counting COVID. Because that doesn't count. They didn't have it, but it'll be the first year I missed since 1990. If I don't know.
That sounds wrong.
I know. But I don't know. We had fun last year though, didn't we?
We did. We had fun last year. We had fun. Yeah, we had fun this past year. And then they had the special edition, COVID special edition. And that was fun too.
Yeah, I have to remind myself of that because I think, it's not a big deal. I'm sort of over it. And then I remember, no, we actually had a really good time. So we'll have to go. We had a great time going through those bins the first Thursday night or the first Wednesday night where we could find books like our hot book of the week. Richard, are you familiar with this book?
I have heard of it. I have not read it.
The Alien Legion #1. This comic book was published by Marvel's creator-owned Epic Comics imprint back in the 80s. Well, they have announced it's going to be potentially a new movie franchise from Warner Brothers. As we know with Warner Brothers, Warner Discovery, nothing is set in stone until we see a trailer.
No, nothing is set in stone until it's released in the theater.
Yeah, maybe not even then. Batgirl, anyone? Anyone want to see the Batgirl movie? The tax write-off. Alien Legion. This kind of made me happy to see this book getting all this activity. People are digging deep for some new, interesting properties to adapt. We're superhero fatigue in movies. Okay, dig deeper. Find some non-superhero science fiction fantasy things to adapt for this. High-grade copies on eBay selling up to $15. This is a dollar bin book all day long. Yeah. If you are quick. You can do a snag, flip, turn around thingamabobby that, specky, top hot list, key collector. Sorry, wrong podcast.
Yeah, this is one of those books like MP7 and a variety of other books. They're just languish in dollar bins for years.
Are you
So
referring to my DP7 from the New Universe?
sorry, yes, DP7. Yeah.
Don't
You can always
dare you.
find that book in long boxes, right beside DNA agents,
Well, don't mistake this when you're digging into the dollar bins for Strike Force Morituri, another
Yeah. Oh,
dollar
that's
bin staple. I like that book. I like both these books. Carl Potts wrote and created Alien Legion, I believe. But it's just weird to see these random books popping up and selling for $15.
it makes me feel like the studios are grasping for straws, to be honest with you. There's so many opportunities though. I don't mind. If they mine our past here and find some property that can go the mile, great. But just do it right. That's all I ask.
Yeah, I don't know. This might be one of those books where you can grab a couple copies, flip
Mhm.
one, and keep one in the box for a few years until this franchise premieres. Wink, wink. Segment 2, show and tell. Begin, Richard. What's your first book?
My first book is one of my favorite characters. It is Darth Vader #3, first appearance of Dr. Aphra. Here she is there with Darth Vader. Stupid bag makes it hard to see. This is the 1 in 25 variant. It's a 9.6 because never was able to afford a 9.8. Now the market's a little soft. Maybe I'll go and look for one. But yeah, Dr. Aphra is one of those. We just talked about properties. It's one of
Mm,
those characters that she's kind of a female Indiana Jones in the Star Wars universe, but she's got less morals than Indy has. So I would love to see something with her in it. I think she's a perfect character to develop into someone that has some substance. So yeah, so this is the 1 in 25. I'm not sure what the current value for this book is, but this is a PC book because I just love the character in general. So yeah, I don't think it's never too late to spec nowadays, especially with the way prices are. But I think Dr. Aphra is something that I would be interested in.
why is it a 9.6? Can you see anything?
I remember looking at this book. There are some spine ticks, some
Okay,
little tiny spine ticks that are not pressable.
that'll
Um,
do.
yeah,
Okay.
that'll do it. You know how 9.6, 9.8s are. They're the chances of it getting a 9.8 aren't zero.
Yeah.
But, they're not worth cracking and resubmitting.
Understood. My first show and tell book for this week is not a valuable book. It's not an expensive book. It's not a popular book, but it's a special book. It is Captain Marvel #47, and this is the first issue of Captain Marvel I got in the mail as a subscriber.
Oh, okay.
I subscribed to Captain Marvel and Howard the Duck when I was a kid. My two first books. You would think I would subscribe to Captain America, but I had no trouble finding Captain America on the newsstand. I always had trouble finding Captain Marvel and Howard. So this was the first book of the two that actually arrived. I got this before I got my Howard the Duck. I had never read Captain Marvel before. I always wanted to. I loved the costume, but I could never find it in Ohio, in Northeast Ohio. So this is actually the first issue of Captain Marvel I read. Luckily, it was kind of a one and done story with a little Kree entry and guest stars the Human Torch, and so I was hooked. But man, it was bi-monthly, and 2 months in your childhood,
That's a long time.
long time, right? Because this is 1976, late 76,
Mhm.
which means I had a subscription for Captain Marvel from the time I was in third grade to fifth grade,
Wow.
because of the length of time
Mhm.
uh, it took to get 12 issues out. So
Wow.
there you go.
That's
Oh,
crazy.
memories.
Well, speaking of that, let me find
Memories?
memories. Yes.
Oh no. What are you going?
Well, you're talking about Howard the Duck. I have
Ah,
Howard the Duck #1. This is the Ron Lim variant. This is the color variant. It's one in. Is this 1 in 50? I don't remember.
Sounds like
Yeah. So those who are just listening, there is um, uh, um,
it's Gwenpool.
Gwenpool. Thank you. I can't, Gwenpool on the cover, who is kind of a variant of Spider Gwen if she was mixed with Deadpool, and it's a hilarious character, one of those fourth wall breaking kinds of characters. And this is her first appearance, or the first time she's in the book. She's at her first cover appearance is in a different book, which I'll also have, and I'll show at some point. But yeah, this is a great book. I have this one, and then there is a black and white variant as well that I have some for for this book. But yeah, you spoke about Howard the Duck. This is not the same series. This is a later series in the series they're talking about. But I love this book because we're talking about possible characters. I would love to see a Gwenpool um, character in the MCU. I think she is hilarious and could play off of Deadpool so easily.
I want to see Howard the Duck before I see Gwenpool, please.
I don't know. We'll see what I think Kevin Feige and the rest of Marvel are rethinking things. So who knows? Things are
Well,
on the table or maybe beyond the table.
I hope the DC Universe movies really get recharged and re-energized with James Gunn and all that, because I would love to see this character pop up in a DC Universe movie, because this is his first appearance in comics, and I happen to have it from the 1950s. It is Pat Boone.
I've heard of that character. Yeah.
Is Pat Boone, #1 from DC. Excuse me. Also featuring, as you can see, Jimmy Rogers. You've got 4 Little Chicks, whoever that is, and Edie Gourmet at the bottom there.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Pat Boone, #1, 1959, I believe, from DC. It features Don Amici, Tab Hunter, Dinah Shore. It's a 202.5. It's got a back cover water stain, and I think I got it. On a live sale for a very significant discount.
You're gonna get it slapped?
No. Are you kidding? I want to read everything about Pat Boone and Edie Gourmet. I need to find out everything about Tab Hunter. My lavender brother, Tab Hunter. Came out later in life. What is your next book?
We did during our special edition, our subscriber only show that wasn't subscriber only yesterday. I mentioned Art Adams and this stuff that he's one of my favorite artists, and I have an art book from him, and this particular book is not in that art book. This is Young Allies #6. This is the 1/115 cover. It's Firestar on the cover with presenting her assets. I love this cover. I mean, I love all of his covers, but this one specifically, I just love the warmth in it, and it's no pun. It's difficult to come by. Right now, I think I saw a 9.4 go for over $2,000. It's a expensive book nowadays, and I've had 3 copies of this pass through my hands at one point or another. I thought this one. It is showing up as a 9.0. I thought I was going to grade higher than that, but
over the grader notes.
You know what? I'll have to look it up, but I think the nefarious finger bends and things along the lines. I could try cracking it and resubbing at the price value it's at. That might be a viable thing. If you're not going to raise the price of it by $100, it's really not worth doing the whole process. So I might do that at some point. Just do a more careful press on it and resub and see what happens.
Get a 9.2 out of it, maybe.
Yeah.
Is that the one you got in the stroller collection?
No, it is not. I'll pull that book out at some point. That's another book. Stroller collection. Yes, you really have to follow us to get that reference.
Yeah, it's one of our long-running gags. This book is, again, just a weird one I wanted to pull out. It is Conan #4 from the 90s, the mid-90s. What's unusual about it, that's when they rebooted Conan, they canceled the long-running Bronze Age series with issue 275, and they relaunched it with the #1. That's Rune from the Ultraverse, the Malibu Ultraverse.
Wow. How did
They're
they?
trying anything. Well, because Marvel bought Malibu
Okay.
and folded those characters into the Marvel universe, and so now you have a book, Conan #4 from the '90s, which will never be reprinted. Asterix, never seen it. Because they have contractual issues with all the Ultraverse characters, so they can't reprint those characters, and they no longer have the rights to Conan. Titan has the rights to Conan.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, uh, yeah, I'm saying Conan like Conan O'Brien. Conan, they don't have rights to Conan, and so it's so weird that they would try to make this happen
Mhm.
with Rune and Conan. But there you go. Just a little more oddities from the 90s comic book industry. And I've got one more book because we've talked about this book a lot and the different permutations it went through in the Atlas era. It is Young Men, #10. This, like I said, it started off kind of like a slice of life book. Here you've got these three guys talking about, joining the military and volunteering for Korea. And the one guy's like, but I'm a scientist. I can't go into the army. Yeah, there's like a War and Peace on
Mhm.
this cover with all the word balloons. But just, #10, Young Men, just unusual book that just from here it went on to become a war book, then a horror book, and then superhero book.
And they have that jalopy. They're all riding around in that 1920s era.
Well, look
Ja
at the far left. Is that Archie Andrews? Is somebody
That's what it
stealing his
looks like.
star? Someone's stealing Archie's jalopy with Peter Parker is stealing 1960s Peter Parker is
Oh,
stealing
that is funny.
Archie's car.
But you would think, that given the time period, a 1920s or early 30s car would be what a teenager would be driving.
You would think, yeah, it is used in that point. Apologies to everybody. Show and tell, if you watch the show with any regularity, it always ends with a doll man bondage cover.
Okay, you have to describe this one to the listening audience.
This is Feature Comics #78, and our intrepid tiny titan in tight pants is now tied to one of those old-timey Looney Tunes bombs, the kind of circle bomb that has a little fuse in it, and he's barely tied to it. In fact, he's actually holding the rope.
He is holding on to the rope. It's not tight enough, guys.
Yeah. Again, great cover that does not occur anywhere in this book. Any excuse to truss him up on the cover and get those sales. So there you go. There's your Doll Man Bondage cover of the week, folks.
Yep, they know their audience.
So do we. Hey, speaking of our audience, let's check some viewer mail.
You've got mail.
Our first piece of viewer mail comes to us from our friend down under, Alan Carr, from our email at bronzeandmoderngods@gmail.com. Alan writes, "Good afternoon, John and Richard. It's always a pleasure to watch your shows. Have been doing so for a long time now. I would love to see new features to augment the older ones. There are so many writers and artists that could do well with a mention. We could have features on Gold Key, Charlton, Tower. You are both gentlemen of authority who could present the histories of so many genres from the Golden Age on. I know you're both busy with necessities of life, but I love to hear you guys imparting history. It seems we are approaching a time of major Kane in the comic verse." I don't know if that was a typo or not. Major Kane. "I would hate to see histories lost. Already much of what has occurred in the 60s is supposition." That's true.
Yeah.
And then he goes on to talk a little bit more, but thank you, Alan Carr, aka the Gold Key for Color Kid Down Under. Alan, we are going to expand a little bit, at least I am, to cover a little more Charlton and Gold Key and Dell, especially now that I've gone down this Looney Tunes collecting rabbit hole. Because, Elmer Fudd. So some of what you suggest will come to pass. Richard.
Yeah, I guess a good question. Do we, John and I talk about the format of the show, and I think a known format is good because people understand what follows after each segment. But that doesn't mean that we can't add something new and something different. So yeah, I'm I'm open to doing something along those lines and maybe experimenting. So look, watch the space, and maybe you'll see something different in the near future.
In fact, your next piece of viewer mail kind of talks about that.
Exactly. My next piece is from Three Rivers Comics 571. Hi, John and Richard. Great show. John lovingly caressing his Captain America gave me an idea.
Is that what we're calling it now?
uh, how about a segment where your viewers can write in and tell you about a particular comic they would never sell and why? Um, which you could share during reader mail. I think there would be some great stories there. Keep up the good work. Thanks. That's an interesting topic. We love when you guys write into us or add comments and you share your personal history with comics. If we get enough of those kinds of comments to make it a repeatable segment, I'd love to spend some time talking about everyone's collections and how they impact their life and how meaningful they are to them. So it's going to depend on you guys to write into us and give us the material to be able to do it. But I would love to feature that kind of thing.
So get cracking, bronzeandmoderngods@gmail.com. My next piece of viewer mail is from one of our channel members, Jason Brownell. See his little badge there for being a channel member? That's worth $2.99 right there. While only 2 issues, Fantastic Four 25 and 26, is truthfully the first Marvel event. Hulk rampages through New York City for the first time, and the FF and the Avengers team up to stop him. To me, this is the true beginning of Marvel as I love it. Easily my favorite FF books ever. As for subscriber content, members only I'm sure he's referring to, use us as a testing ground for new ideas. Lots of new ideas being thrown around here, Richard. If you want to feature an entire collection or do some deep dives you aren't sure will get the views, try it out on here. We will be more than glad to give feedback. Love to see the entire Archie collects or top 10 lists, top most wanted, top Atlas books you own, top Miles or Legion for Richard. If it's a thought you aren't sure will work, try it out here and we'll let you know. Jason, we're going to take advantage of you.
Yeah.
That captive audience that puts their money where their mouths are, and we're going to test some new stuff out probably this week, I think. All right, Richard, go ahead. What's your next piece of viewer mail?
My next piece is from Collector Auctions. Go see the Marvels. It was fun. It was sad. It connected story points. It teased the future storyline. Brie Larson didn't go out and insult people while promoting the movie. A million times better than Ant-Man 3.
Okay. I haven't seen Ant-Man 3 yet. I haven't seen Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, you need to see both of them. Both of them were not the best. I would not rank them in the top 10 Marvel movies, definitely. Collector Auctions saying that the Marvels was better than Ant-Man 3 isn't saying a whole lot because Ant-Man 3 wasn't really good. I have to say. But, I reading the comments from the last show, a lot of people were saying that the Marvels was good. It was worth watching. So
it talked me into it. I'm going to go. I would try to go see it this week. If you saw the live show on Friday night, you heard why. I'm not going to repeat why I did not go. Let's just say I got lazy. But I will try to go this Thanksgiving week because I have some time off. Finally, oh my Lord, guys, work. Are you guys working as much as we are?
Yeah. Same here. I took Friday off, so I'll probably go and see it on Friday.
Good. My last piece of viewer mail for me is from our buddy Bronzeville Comics. Check out his channel if you have not checked out his YouTube channel. He asks, why work for Marvel? I've wondered if they get, or at least the promise of, any payments when a character they created is used in a movie or TV show. Bronzeville, they indeed do. There is a creator bonus that they get if something is adapted for a toy, licensed for something, or used in TV or movies. I honestly do not know what the terms are. In fact, I think it's a specific scale for each person that negotiates it. I think they try to give everyone something. It will really started with Jack Kirby and DC and Jeanette Kahn and Dick Giordano back in the days trying to get Jack some licensing money when the Superpowers figures started using New Gods. And then
Okay.
Marvel kind of took notice of that. And, again, Jack Kirby's heirs sued Disney in order to get him credit for some stuff. So now people like Marv Wolfman for Blade and things like that, they do get a little pocket money. I'm sure it's a little more than couch cushion money.
Yeah, but it's not, taking your characters to Image and having creator control over them kind of money.
No, it's not Alien Legion, Epic Comics, Warner Brothers Discovery money, I'm sure. What is your last piece of your mail?
My last piece is from
Oh, our old buddy.
our old buddy Rumple Foreskin 1275. Zero interest in movies. I follow this channel for comic books, and I hear you. This is not a movie review channel. This is a comic book channel. But since movies drive so much value in comic books, we feel it's important that we talk about movies as how they relate to comic books, and just like we talked about here just in the past few comments, there is an interconnectedness between the movies and the comic book industry, and I don't see that changing. But we will always focus on the comics books first, and movies will just be referenced as they pertain to comics.
Along those lines, Rumple Foreskin, I want to take a moment to give my dissertation on No Country for Old Men. The Oscar winning, oh, sorry, no,
No, I don't think so.
no, okay. Oh, well, let's get in the time machine. Let's hop in the TARDIS. Let's go back to 1983 with the old fart rule. Sometimes the simplest segues are the best.
That was nice and classy.
Uh, Alan Carr, you wanted Charlton. Here you go. Gunfighters number 78 from 1983. Charlton Comics, yes, still breathing, still holding on as a publisher in 1983. At this point, they were primarily just publishing reprints of their war, romance, horror, and Western stories from its vast library. This issue of Gunfighters, though, did sport a new cover by Bill Black from Americomics fame. Gunfighters would run to issue number 85, finally heading off into the Great West, July of 1984. Charlton would also halt most of its comic book publishing in 1984 and then attempt another comeback around 1986, but we can talk about that when the old fart rule moves to 1984 next year, which is really only a month away if you think about it.
That's crazy.
Charlton's. Richard, do you have any interest in Charlton's?
No, no, I don't. I
Nothing,
don't.
nothing's ever hit you like a Captain Atom or a Blue Beetle or something like that?
No.
The
Maybe the
question.
war stuff,
Yeah.
but yeah. But as far as superhero stuff, no.
The Charltons, they're fun to collect for me. The war and the horror stuff, they're scarcer in grade, so the thrill of the hunt is there, and they're still super affordable. I think you can get a copy of this Gunfighter 78 for $2 on eBay, and
Wow.
a decent issue. There's no competition, so you can always
And
find
you,
your.
like you've talked about the paper quality in
Oh,
these books are so horrible. To get something in, a mid grade is kind of like getting in a high grade in other types of books.
yeah, and in the 80s, they were trash. I mean, nobody wanted this stuff. It was the last resort. It was the book that your grandmother would bring home when you were homesick. Like, I found some comic books for you, Richard. And
Mhm.
there would be like, oh, she bought me Conan, Jonah Hex, and Gunfighters. Weird War Tales. Grandma, why are you buying me Weird War Tales? Buy me Captain America. You know it's Cap.
Well, it's better than her buying you, cherry Pop Tart or something like that.
Hey, now that's a grandma I can get on board with. Moving on to our underrated books of the week. Richard, you perv, what do you got?
My pick this week is Fantastic Four number 292. This is when She-Hulk is on the team. The Fantastic Four is drawn by Mr. Byrne. This is a Hitler cover. And I don't want to say I love Hitler covers.
I
I
love
love
Hitler.
I love people who collect certain types of things, and this is one of those things that people collect. People collect Hitler covers, and to me, this is, I think, the only cover in my collection that features Adolf Hitler. that's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just making a statement.
Really? So you don't have any war titles or
Not
Black
with him on the
Hawk?
cover. No, no, none of the I would love some of those, yeah, the Black Hawk stuff and some of the things from the Second World War. That would be amazing because he was definitely prominently featured in those war books from the Second World War.
But
Um,
no weird war tales from the Bronze Age or Unknown Soldier or Sergeant Rock? Or
Not that I could think of. I have war books, but they're all featuring, the Haunted Tank, things like that, and really don't feature, you know, Mr. Hitler.
the more realistic stuff. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, the more realistic stuff. This book is, Fantastic Four and Nick Fury go back in time, supposedly, and Nick tries to kill Hitler, and Sue Storm stops him, saying, you could affect the timeline, and then Hitler pulls a gun on him, and he shoots him anyway. Uh,
Oh,
but it is not real. It is a anyway. It's not a real event. It is something that is manufactured by another mutant. So
spoiler.
spoiler. It's interesting read. And like I said, Hitler covers are popular, and this is, I think, the most recent one that I know of. I don't see a whole lot of them in our near future. This particular book, 9.8, is $89. There's a newsstand that sold earlier this year for 114. Not an expensive book. So if you're looking for collecting some type of topical book, this is an interesting one and still affordable.
All right. My underrated book this week is not really a speculation kind of thing. I guess it is. I'm shocked. It's one of those books that I'm just shocked does not sell for more. And that is Doom Patrol number 19. Did you come on Doom Patrol with issue 19, volume 2, issue 19?
No, I did not.
This is the first Grant Morrison issue. Before this, Doom Patrol was your standard DC Universe super team comic book with Robot Man, and you had Eric Larson art in the
Uh-huh.
beginning, which was great. Paul Kupperberg was writing it. It was, kind of X-Men ish. They were trying to make their own little X-Men. It was not selling well. It was on the chopping block, and they thought, all right, we're going to make it a new format, mature readers title, and give it to this limey Brit. I think is Grant Morrison from Britain, or is he Scottish? I think he might be Scottish. But this changed the game. This rebooted the Doom Patrol. It recontextualized them.
Mhm.
It reinvented it. I would say this and Swamp Thing invented the Vertigo line for
Right.
DC Comics.
Right. I was just going to mention Swamp Thing.
This was pretty much the basis for most of the Doom Patrol TV series that was on Max that just ended. I can't believe this book doesn't sell for more. And when I say that, I'm going to tell you how much it sells for. The 90-day average for a CGC 9.8 is $82.
Yeah, I that's just surprising. This book and the change to Swamp Thing really changed the feel of DC Comics. Made it more mature and kind of matching the maturity that you were seeing in some of the Marvel titles. So yeah, I'm surprised, given that this is also tied to the TV show, why this book doesn't have more value. It's amazing.
I'm not going to try to strong arm you into agreeing with me, but it's also the first appearance of Crazy Jane,
Oh,
who
okay.
a big character in the Doom Patrol mythos.
Mhm.
What I loved about this when I was reading it, because I had read the previous 18 issues out of habit, I was reading pretty much everything at that point. And this did not throw out the baby with the bathwater. This run was a direct result of everything that had happened before in this book. There was the invasion crossover where all these different alien invaders came to Earth, and it was a big DC Universe crossover. A couple members of one member of the Doom Patrol was killed. One was put in a coma. This and drove Robot Man to a sanitarium.
Mhm.
That's where this starts. So it's a great way, back in the day when prior reboot meant just starting over. This took everything that occurred before and recontextualized it in a new way. And so I love Doom Patrol 19, one of my favorite books from the Copper Age. So there you go.
Awesome.
Have you ever read that Doom Patrol run at all?
No, no, I haven't. Well, I can't say that. Let's say I have spotty
Mhm.
experience with it. I remember picking up an issue or two here, but I never was Doom Patrol. Big Swamp Thing guy.
So you've never experienced the Scissor Men or any of that, huh?
No, never did.
You got to read it. It's so good. Guys, tell him in the comments to read this book. While you're at it, why don't you hit like, hit subscribe, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, all that good stuff. And members, we'll see you later this week. And everyone else, we'll catch you next time.
Everybody, stay safe.